Alright guys, today we're back with another Legends Pinball video, and it's a video that I told you guys would happen last week. I just got the arcade control panel, as you guys can see here. So this is going to be replacing the top portion of the area right here. So instead of just having a directional pad, we're going to have an analog stick, an arcade stick, buttons, and then a trackball, so we can be able to play more games that I showed you guys running on the CoinOps X that I have on here. And of course, through ArcadeNet, we're gonna have better buttons on there and an easier way to navigate, because like this is obviously a small directional pad, D-pad that's on here. With all these extra buttons and stuff, it's just going to make navigating the menu easy too. And I heard that the haptics even get a little bit of an upgrade as well, so it'd be interesting if I see that. I'm still looking to get a haptic upgrade kit regardless, but it'd be interesting to see if I notice a difference on either one of these two, so we'll see what that looks like. So let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
Alright guys, so here is the arcade layout right here. This should be really easy to put together here, but this is what it looks like before it goes in. You can even see the back side of it here, which is pretty cool, of everything going on there. So you can see everything is wired up, has a nice little plastic shield on it, so nothing got messed up. And then it has just the one cable it looks like you have to plug in there that's kind of hanging on the outside. So it came with this. We're of course going to put this here to the side there, but that's what that looks like. And then of course it came with these instructions right here, so we're just going to go ahead and follow these instructions. They should be pretty simple. Tells you the wires that you have to plug in, tells you the assembly instructions. All you really need is a Phillips head screwdriver. Basically we're just going to remove these side panels here so we can get these black bars out, and then it's basically just basically taking out the other one, unplugging the wires that are plugged into it, and then popping in the other one. So it should be pretty simple here, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright guys, we got the sides off here. As you can see here, the sides are off. We have them here on the ground. It was just the 5 screws on the side there. And then we had the 3 screws, or the 4 screws that were on this thing that we're going to actually reuse for the other one down there. So you take those 4 screws off after you remove the side panel. So you remove the front panel first, which is that one right there, and then you remove the 2 sides. And then you remove these 4 screws here. And then you get to this. So you got a little USB cord right here that's already ready for you, and that's actually the same USB port we're going to use for that new one. So it's already prepared in the machine for those people who are going to upgrade. It's right here. So you just obviously push this off to the side so we can get this out, which I'm going to do. And then this has to be unplugged here, which I'm going to do. And then if you look inside very carefully not to tug this, the wire that goes to the haptic feedback here that's plugged in is kind of just sitting right there. We just got to unplug that carefully so we don't pull on anything. But that should basically be it. And these are the little motors that are kind of on the side that give you the haptic feedback. So they are really small, and they're kind of just sitting right here. So that is what you're supposed to feel as they vibrate. So we'll see if there's any improvement, like I said, to using the new one that people have said. Alright guys, so we have this plugged in here. So all we had to do is we had to take that spare USB cable that was already sitting on the other control panel that we removed. We take that cable, we plug it in right here for the USB, and then the cable that this one came with, this new control panel, had this one stickied on the side, and that just plugs in right to the same one that you disconnected before, which controls the haptics. So 2 cables, that one there and this one here. We turn this around, then we're going to put the 4 screws on it. It really doesn't get any more simple than this for installation. We got this back on the board. We put the 4 screws back on the front of this that were here. The same 4 screws that the other one had, you put onto this one, so that's good. And now we're going to put the 2 side panels on first, and then of course the front panel back on for after that. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright guys, so she's here assembled. As you can see, this is all back on. The only thing I wanted to let you guys know as a note, you can see this front one that you put on at the end that you took off first, but obviously put on last. Just make sure when you put it on that you're going over the lip over here on the side, so it's over these black panels, just like it was when you took it off if you weren't paying attention. So it goes right over it, so or else this thing is going to lean out and you're not going to be able to get the screws in. So this goes over these side brackets. So let's go ahead and power this on. Guys, so here it is right installed, and you can see right here in the beginning you can use now the joystick to just navigate the main menu, which is so much easier than using that small little directional pad. So that already right there is an improvement, because now I could just use this to kind of scroll around. You go up to ArcadeNet, you got all of these games here, and they're a lot easier to scroll around by just using this. So let's test out one of the games that I had installed on CoinOps X, just to see how these buttons work here. Just to see it. So we're going to go ahead and hit, I'm assuming A. Yep, A is now there. So you don't have to hit the start button down here anymore, which used to be at the bottom of the panel here, which was obviously not the most convenient thing to always have to be hitting that every time you want it to hit enter. But now you got an A button right here at the top, so you can use that as your enter, scroll around, and just hit launch. So this is obviously much better to have these controls up here than it is to rely on these bottom ones down here all the time. So now if we go ahead and play, let's say we play 1942, we can go ahead and hit A. Also works in CoinOps X. Setting a coin into CoinOps X, you still need to hit the start button on the bottom, at least for right now, until I figure out how to reconfigure it. But if you use it just standard, the A button will not start the game until you actually have a coin in, and then you just hit the little start button, as you usually do with CoinOps X, which is no different. Just like it says here, push the start button. It's not recognizing A, you gotta hit the start button there. So let's see how this works now. Obviously you can move with the joystick, and now the A button actually controls the shooting, and this is so much better to play than it was before, because before, the idea before was basically that you had to use the start button as your enter, as your shooting one, and you had to use a directional pad to play this. So basically, that was terrible. It basically made these games unplayable without this control stick, of course, because you're not going to sit there hitting the start button on the bottom and using the little directional pad to move your thing around. But these buttons feel good. They have a good clickiness to them, so they feel pretty good. The joystick feels really responsive, as you guys can see here, playing CoinOps X and stuff like that. So this feels really good. Yeah, this feels good. So let's go ahead and get out of this one. Obviously, we need to hit the home button to get out, so we can just go ahead and hit quick game on there. And then we're back here at the main menu. So if we scroll to one of the other games here, we did Capcom Bowling here, so we can test out the trackball and see if that works right off the bat. Here we are here. Hit start there. It's telling you to hit the start button for a coin. So there's a coin, and then you hit start. You can basically just move the ball back and kind of spin it forward. Gotta get used to it. I've never played Capcom Bowling before. I'm used to playing World Class Bowling instead. But there you go. So this is really cool. The reason that I got CoinOps X on here to begin with, even though I had most of these games on another system, is because this is basically a new way to play these games. Obviously before, on my other machine, it's a stand-up vertical machine, so it's a different feel. This is obviously now on a pinball machine, so it kind of gives the games a different feel. That was terrible. Because now you're playing it like in this direction, so it's cool to have kind of both options and see how the games work and how they look. And the graphics that they've done with like the top and the bottom, most of them have the marquee, you can and all that stuff on there, which is cool. And then most of them have like a button down here. And then the ones that don't have a button down there is cool because they use this graphic here. So most of them have this customized down here, which is pretty cool. But with the games that don't have a customized one down here, you'll see like this generic black one, which looks exactly like the control panel for AtGames that I'm using right now, which is pretty cool. I need to stop spinning my hand to the left. I can feel the haptics right now too, by the way. I can feel it when I put my hand down just now and I threw the bowling ball and the bowling balls hit the ball. I can feel the table rumble a little bit from the haptics. I can't tell if it's actually improved or if it's just, you know, doing the same thing as before. We'll have to try a game here. But yeah, that's enough of this game. Obviously, I'm terrible at this game. I need to practice. But the trackball does work well when you actually position it well. You go forward there and kind of throw forward. That was a lot better for me when I actually concentrate there. But yeah, so let's go ahead and rotate to something else here. So we're going to go ahead and hit home on here again. And we're just going to go ahead and hit quit. Go back to the main menu. And to get out of CoinOps X, you hit the rewind button. So we just did that. And we're back here at the main menu. The other thing we were going to test out is just one quick game on ArcadeNet, just because that's obviously on the internet and it's being streamed, and I am on Wi-Fi like I've talked about before. So let's go ahead and try this one here and see how it performs on Wi-Fi. There is an Ethernet jack on the back if you want to use it. I'm just not using it right now because it seemed like the Wi-Fi was working just fine for me, but we're about to put it to its test with these controls. So let's see how this works here. So here we got to hit start. Go ahead and hit him. Let's see how this works here. I don't think there's any buttons for this game. I think you just kind of move your shield to kind of block where the ball's going, if I remember correctly. Oh no, there is a slide button here. So the B button kind of slides over like this. So yeah, that works as well. You can slide over with the B button. And you can kind of taunt with the C. Oh, there's a little bit of lag from taunting, I guess. And I'll take that win. So, a slight lag there at the end, but the game performed pretty well until that lag. But again, I can connect this through Ethernet if I want to. I just haven't done it yet because I want to see what the experience is like on Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi would be easier, of course, like it is for most people. So, it does seem to be performing pretty well. With that slight dip before. Does seem to be lagging though a little bit there, as you guys saw there. So it seems like if you want to play ArcadeNet, which is what I heard from most people, and I have really good internet, I have a gig line here. If you want to actually play with the ArcadeNet stuff, you're probably gonna have to hook this up to the Ethernet port, make things a lot easier instead of it lagging like it is right now every once in a while. So it plays well for the most part, but then you get some lag spikes, which is obviously not going to be ideal if you're playing a fighter or something. Not that big of a deal if you're playing like a simple game by yourself and you don't mind, but definitely going to have to get this on Ethernet if I want to take the ArcadeNet game seriously and play some fighters. There's my taunt. But yeah, we can go back out of this as well. Bring up the main menu on the top there. Just hit quit. Back out of there to the main menu. So yeah, obviously the games are now much more playable with these controls on ArcadeNet and with CoinOps X. They wouldn't be able to be playable without you getting this. That's obviously pretty obvious there. So I'm super happy with the fact that this is on here. I got a trackball on here now to kind of experience trackball games in a different form factor, since I don't have a pinball machine with the trackball until now, so that's different. I got these 6 buttons here that now lets me play some of these ArcadeNet games and CoinOps games in this direction, which is cool, and of course with a joystick. But all of this stuff is great, even because of the fact that now I can just navigate the menus with this. It's obviously much easier than before. The last thing we're going to take a look at is the haptics that people were saying was a little bit improved with this last thing. So I'm just going to hit the channels here and go to one of the new natural history tables here, and let's go ahead and hit the last Ice Age, the one I've been having the most fun with so far, and let's just see if the haptics I feel any sort of improvement. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if there's an improvement or not. It's not going to be anything crazy, even if it's slightly improved. At the end of the day, I'm going to be upgrading these regardless with the company that I'm reaching out to, working with them to get different graphics for this and an upgraded kit, which I'll be doing a separate video on. So no matter what this feels like, I'm changing it out, but at least I can let you guys know if there's really any difference that people have talked about here. So let's wait for this to start. I'm going to say, right there in the beginning, when the table first started, I felt the haptics on here kind of jump up more than I ever had before. I don't remember this table doing that before, and I can feel, when I put my hands here, I can feel the haptics sitting underneath my hands now, where it kind of has like a slight vibration on the bottom. I don't know how to describe it, but that's definitely was not like that before. Yeah, you can feel the haptics right there when it made that noise, as if something's happening. That definitely wasn't there. Oh yeah. I almost feel like my haptics were broken before with the way this is working. And my wife and me both played this, and it's like I can ask her right after this if it's just me going crazy, because she played it too and couldn't really feel anything. But I don't know if my old haptics were basically broken, because now I'm curious, because it's it's like night and day difference. I almost feel like my haptics weren't even plugged in before, even though I know that they were because I felt them a little bit, which I talked about in my overview. That I did feel them a little bit, but not very pronounced. Or my wife even said that like she barely felt anything unless if I told her to. But with these, like that bumping up there, that's hitting up there, I can feel that with every hit on here on the side. Nothing that I could easily feel before. And every time I hit these flippers here, when I move these left and right, this feels like I'm actually getting haptics now. Yeah, like, yeah, when it hits the side there, I feel that. I feel all of it now on the side here of my hand. So this is really interesting because it is definitely way more improved than it was on the other one. And like I said, even though this is like twice as good as what I felt on the other one at least, which is just really strange only because they don't advertise it as having anything improved. It just seems like it's improved because everyone said it was. But I don't think anybody actually said that there were this big of a difference. Like this is, like I said, night and day. Like instantly realized the difference as soon as I got in here with the way that this is vibrating. Like I feel it on my hand every single time. Like there's no question. Before I had to think about feeling it. I had to be like, hey, let me really pay attention to my hands and see if I actually feel it. Where now every time I feel the bumps, I don't have to think about anything. I could feel it on my hands, like right there. Like there's no question that these are that this is definitely working better than it was before, tenfold. So now we have the fact that the controls and menus are easier to navigate, which is great with these arcade buttons. So that's a plus. The haptics are vastly improved, at least compared to the one I had before. Even though I haven't seen anyone say it was vastly improved, I heard people say it was improved a little bit. But for me, it's vastly improved. I don't know if there's something going on, but like I said, vastly improved for me. I could actually feel it every time now, which is great. I'm still going to upgrade them because I'm going to have solenoids on the flippers, which there's nothing that can replace solenoids regardless. But this is kind of what I expected when I first got the machine. I wouldn't have been complaining in my previous video about the haptics if this is how they felt for a $600 machine. So I'm still going to get the solenoids because they're going to feel a lot better and more of what I'm used to. But this is now an experience that I can tell people and be like, hey, with these haptics, you're going to have a lot of fun and you can still feel it. And unlike before where I felt they were really weak, this is vastly improved and much better. I'm still going to do my solenoid upgrade and my haptic upgrade kit that I'm working on, but this is makes me much more happy on how this actually came out. So vastly improved stuff there. Really happy with it. But also surprised on how much better it is. Alright guys, so that's it. That's the end of the video here. So really happy for $100 that I got this on National Owners Day, or the $200 if you didn't get it on National Owners Day. $100 is a steal for this. Definitely recommend it at $100, especially with my improvement on the haptics, which is fantastic. The fact that I can play more games on it now is fantastic, of course, and being able to use these buttons to navigate the menus and all that stuff is obviously a much better experience than the way it was before. So super happy with this upgrade. 30 seconds to upgrade and put the panel in there, and just took obviously a couple minutes to take the screws out of all the sides because there's 5 on each and 3 on the front and then the 4 inside. But the actual dropping of the panel was literally 2 plugs. It doesn't get any easier. So alright guys, if you guys have any questions about what you guys saw in today's video, as always, leave it down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Until next time.